Dude, what is even going on, man? Like, I'm in complete shock. So, not long ago I released a video talking about faster leveling in the Wrath pre-patch, as I think the 2 to 4 weeks or 2 to 6 weeks is way too short for leveling up with the current experience rates we have, and right before I posted that video, Blizzard released a blue post talking about a special event happening in TBC Classic leading up to the pre-patch and during the pre-patch itself, where they announced that they will be giving us additional experience. It is like they are reading my mind or we're thinking alike. You'd love to see it. They are making so many updates recently. We have 4 things to talk about today. It's so many things happening with the TBC Classic and Wrath Classic. Let's just get right into it and look at some blue posts. So first off, as we continue to work on Wrath of the Lich King Classic, we want to celebrate the defeat of Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion again with a bit of a special event to help players get ready for their adventures in Northrend. In the coming weeks we will be implementing a global buff that we are calling Joyous Journeys. During the time this buff is active, every source of experience points will award plus 50% additional experience, so you will level up way faster, you can level up way faster, you can level up alt, do whatever, and this thing, as we'll get into later in this blue post, it will be lasting in the pre-patch as well. So we haven't locked down the specific time frame for when this buff will be active or will activate, but we expect it to last for at least 6 to 8 weeks, beginning a few weeks before the 3.4.0 pre-patch and persisting right up until the day that Wrath of the Lich King Classic launches. This buff will provide a great opportunity for everyone who may have fallen behind the leveling curve, or anyone with alts that they want to prep for the next adventure, to jump in and get caught up to level 70 players ahead of the release of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. This buff will also be active on Wrath of the Lich King Classic Fresh Start realms as well, so it will be a great jumpstart for any players who want to try to level up quickly during the pre-patch and participate in the various Wrath pre-patch events, such as the Zombie Plague or special time-limited bosses, such as Balsaphon in Stratholm or Tenris Murkblood in Karazhan. While we aren't quite ready to announce specific dates around Wrath Classic, we felt it might be helpful to let you know ahead of time that this buff event was happening, and we will have more to share around Wrath of the Lich King Classic launch plans in the coming weeks. Like I said, this is absolutely fantastic. I talked about this in the previous video, but I think a 2 to 6 weeks pre-patch is not a long enough pre-patch with these fresh servers that are launching with the pre-patch, considering people need to level up all the way from level 1 to level 70, but having 50% additional experience might just be the buff that we need. And here's the thing, when I made a poll about how many people were wanting to play on these fresh start servers, and when I asked people why they did not want to play on fresh start servers, if they chose not to play on them, almost everyone said that they either did not have the time to level up again, or they just didn't want to level up again because it is such a huge time investment. With this 50% additional experience, the time investment will be shorter, and you can level up way faster, so I do think this will bring a lot of new players to those fresh start realms, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below, if you were not planning to play on these fresh start realms, are you planning to now that we have this additional experience? Okay, so I did say at the start of this video, we have 4 things to talk about, and Blizzard are really outdoing themselves lately with all of these news and everything they are doing. So let's look at another blue post that has to do with boosting. One of the most common pieces of feedback that we have received and observed ourselves in our own adventures is the concern about pervasive sales of dungeon boosting services in-game. It often overpowers chat with advertisements and makes certain channels hard to use for their intended purpose. It is also no secret that the gold from many boosting groups is used for illicit activities such as RMT. As much of the gold that players paid to boosters is then sold for real money back to other players. Now that we have seen the final major content release of Burning Crusade Classic, we will soon adjust the behavior of creatures in most dungeons, including the new dungeons coming in Wrath Classic, to make it significantly more difficult to endlessly snare and kite enemies. Additionally, we will be implementing a reduction to group experience earned when there is a large disparity between player levels in the same group. So I do think we need more clarification on the large disparity number here. So for example, if a level 10 groups up with a level 70, that is a large disparity, but what if a level 60 groups up with a level 80, that is only 20 level difference, so having a specific number right here would be very good. We have experimented with similar changes to most dungeons on our Season of Mastery series, and we have found these changes to be very effective at reducing the efficiency of boosting groups. We plan to roll out these adjustments to Burning Crusade Classic realms at the same time as the Joyous Journeys Experience Buff 2, which should happen sometime in the next few weeks. Stay tuned for more information about that, and when you can expect to see these changes hit live servers. This is absolutely fantastic. I've been talking about this for quite a while now. Mage boosting and paladin boosting as well has been plaguing the game for such a long time. It is almost impossible to find real dungeon groups while leveling up, and it's also just impossible to level up with anyone else. The whole, like a lot of players are buying these boosts right now, so finding groups for, well, questing, dungeon quests, doing dungeons, or just group quests in general, or just seeing people in the open world. It is a social game after all, so seeing people in the open world while leveling is a good thing. This is also a good opportunity to remind everyone that spamming chat channels with advertisement for boosting services outside of dedicated trade channels is literally against the terms of service, and you should take every opportunity to report players that use the advertising for boost services in channels such as General and LFG. We are really looking forward to players joining us very soon in the Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta. Oh dude, very soon in the beta. Let's go dude. And hope to be able to share more about that very, very soon as well. They said very, very soon. I think that's important here. Hopefully we hear something about this in the next few days or next week, I don't know. That's gonna be great. Another piece of really quick news is that Blizzard has lifted the restriction on PvP realms, allowing for both factions to be created on one account, as well as allowing PvE realms to PvP realm transfers. This was announced alongside the Realm Consolidation blue post, which means that Blizzard is probably preparing to retire many realms very soon. And now for what could have been the most juicy part, but then again, everything's been juicy so far. So, the Dungeon Finder, or well, the Group Finder, or whatever they want to call it. It's a Group Finder UI. They've been doing some reworks on this for Wrath Classic. Let's look at it. As we all know, there's an infinite amount of ground to cover on this topic. I am not sure how much I can say that hasn't already been said before, but what I can assure you of is that our team is extremely committed to finding good solutions to player concerns that don't compromise on the things that make Classic loved in the first place. And speaking of solutions, I've come bearing some good news. We are actively developing a brand new Group Finder UI for Wrath Classic. Here is a small sneak preview of some of the features that we are aiming to deliver. It's a new look and a modern code. We have rebuilt the UI to be easier to read and more inviting than it was in Burning Crusade Classic. This is great. I don't think anyone used the one for Burning Crusade Classic. Everyone was just using the LFG bulletin board instead. Behind the scenes, we are using our modern Group Finder code, ensuring stability and performance. They are also introducing roles. We are introducing roles into the UI in Wrath Classic. Partial groups can broadcast which slots they have open, and individuals can specify whether they are willing to tank, heal, deal damage, or do multiple of the above. Roles are intended to expedite communication, not stifle gameplay creativity, so for the moment we are keeping all roles open to all classes. That one's interesting. Solo listings and multiple activities. We envision this Group Finder as a bulletin board, well, there you go, where players can list activities that they want to do and discover other things discover others who want to do the same. To that end, we are supporting listings from both solo individuals and partially filled groups. And if you can't decide which dungeon that you want to run, that is okay. You can list yourself for more than one. You can also request invites and send invites. Or suggest invite. To smooth out group formation, we are adding request invite and suggest invite features. Just to remember, a quick hey there is always preferred over a silent and sudden ninja invite. The single source for your group finding needs. We are aiming for this group finding UI to be a one-stop shop for all of your group finding needs. To that end, we are reviving an old rule from the original Burning Crusade Classic, or the original Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. Sending messages in the Looking for Group Chat channel will require being listed in the UI. This one's kind of interesting and really cool at the same time. We also have some pictures of what this UI looks like right here as well. So that's That's very many news in one day. I'm kind of shook. I'm kind of overwhelmed. I'm definitely happy they are addressing this. Like, first of all, the Joyous Journey is going to be great. That 50% additional experience, it's going to be great, and I can't wait. It's so funny that they talk about this the second after I post a video talking about the same thing for the fresh servers. They definitely needed this event for those servers, and it's so great to see that this is happening. They are also talking about boosting and trying to fix that as well. Another good thing. Everything is just falling right into place, and they're doing so many good things for Wrath Classic. I honestly can't wait for the beta. Let me know which of these things you are most excited about in the comment section down below, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more Wrath Classic content. I'm aiming to always keep you up to date, so yeah, subscribe down below, leave a like on the video before you leave, and that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.